chromatic aberration is something photographers must live with. The idea of color fringing, due to the fact that different colors focus at different distances from a lens. If two wavelengths of light, usually red and blue, are brought to focus in the same plane, the lens is called achromatic. We all have those little diopters, the close-up lenses that are two lenses put together. If three or more wavelengths of light are brought to focus in the same plane at the same distance, the lens is termed apochromatic, as in APO lenses or apo lenses. The idea is that we would like to have all of the colors in the spectrum focus on the same plane, like on our sensor. APO is a term rather loosely used by lens manufacturers. Not all lenses labeled APO are really properly corrected, so just having the term APO on a lens does not guarantee any particular degree of correction. However, there are certain lenses that photographers seem to agree do deserve to be called apochromatic. Macros such as the Coastal Optic 60mm f4 APO, or the Leica 100mm Elmarit R f2.8 APO, and my favorite, or one of my favorites, the Cosina Voigtlander 125mm f2.5 APO Lanther, and there are others. I don't have the technical expertise of some of the technical photographers, but I do have a pretty good eye for images. In recent years, I've been searching for the holy grail of sharpness in lenses, which has been a true odyssey for sure, and probably a bit of a fool's errand, as some have pointed out to me. In brief, my journey led me through the best of Nikon's macro lenses and on into lenses like the Voigtlander 125mm and some of the others pointed out above, and finally into the extremely sharp industrial Nikons such as the Macro-Nikkors, the Nikkor CRT, the Repro Macro, and the printing Nikkors and others. Although the industrial Nikkors were indeed very, very sharp in some cases, in other cases their resulting photos still left something to be desired. It would seem that the pure sharpness alone is not enough, at least for me, and that part of what I was calling sharpness really turned on how color was handled by the lens. In other words, color treatment very much affects what I was calling sharpness, which brings me to the apochromatic lenses. When all is said and done, I seem to end up using the three apo lenses mentioned above, the Voigtlander, the Leica, and the Coastal Optics. And I've got many other fine lenses, such as the Zeiss 50mm and 100mm macroplaners, but to my eyes, their more contrasty look, for lack of a better word, detracts from their excellence, so I seldom use them in my work, although they're great lenses. Yes, they're very, very sharp, but part of sharpness, so I argue to myself, is color, and the Zeiss lenses are not true APO lenses, and that apparently, at least to my eye, makes a difference. Then, when I did a lot of work with the various industrial Nikkors, which indeed are as sharp or sharper than any of the above-mentioned lenses, the results left something to be desired. These are true for what are called the Macro-Nikkors. So sharp all by itself is not all that sharp, so to speak. In fact, in the end, my whole idea of sharpness turned out to be dependent on color, and this was a surprise. Perhaps some of the industrial Nikkors lack the modern coatings or something, so I have to be careful what photo environments I use them with. Where subtleness of color is not key, they work fine, but where refined color is paramount, I'd best use other lenses. Hopefully some of you listening here will have the proper explanation for what I'm only able to see as a difference. All of this was pre-Nikon 800E. With the advent of 36 megapixel images, all of this becomes, for me anyway, much clearer. What was something I guessed at with the Nikon D3S and the D3X becomes more obvious with the D800E. It's clear from the D800E photos that uncorrected non-APO sharpness lacks something that APO-corrected lenses appear to have, as in at least what I'm looking for. Call it sharpness or what have you. My question and reason for writing this is to seek other opinions on this and explanations for what I'm seeing. Am I crazy to think that ultimately sharpness depends on color? Like perhaps resolving the color fringing from APO lenses? Are the ultra-sharp industrial Nikkors missing something like APO corrections? And if so, just what corrections? Do the higher resolution megapixels of cameras like the D800E make all of this more obvious? What does this tell us we want in a lens for fine color work? Those are just some of the questions that I'm having at this time.